The elite cabal have infiltrated crypto in a very large way, and I don't think people are really focused on what matters right now. So in this video, I want to address a few things specifically around just how significant this is, but also what their end goal is. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those who are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If we take a quick look at the top four companies. We're just looking at the top four companies in the world by market cap: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Google. We notice a very significant trend. For an example, here are the top Apple shareholders. These are the institutional players, and as you guys can see, there's a nice little list here. 3 players. BlackRock stands out. Vanguard, obviously, as well. And also, if we go and look at Microsoft, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Nvidia, Vanguard, BlackRock, and a few other ones here. But BlackRock is the one that we noticed the most. Even if we look at Google as well, Vanguard, BlackRock. Interesting. Now, yes, BlackRock is one of the largest companies out there. Everyone is aware of BlackRock. And outside of them, yes, we have Vanguard and State Street, 3 of the largest players out there in terms of asset management companies. And if we actually look at BlackRock right now, in terms of their assets under management, 10.43 trillion, making them one of the largest asset management companies out there. They are the largest holder of almost basically everything out there, from companies to real estate, you name it. And as we look at Bitcoin, everyone has been celebrating Bitcoin being an ETF through BlackRock, and BlackRock, highly talking up Bitcoin and saying Bitcoin is this, Bitcoin's that. But that's where it ends. Everyone is so distracted by that. Everyone is so focused on that. But let's actually address a few things. Number one, BlackRock recently just became the largest institutional holder of Bitcoin. Now, this, I predicted well over a year ago before the ETFs even became a thing. I said BlackRock was going to be the largest holder of Bitcoin because they are one of the largest holders of basically everything out there. Every single company you could think of, every asset class that you could think of, they are the largest holder of. But what's even scarier about this is that they're not just the largest holder of Bitcoin. They are also one of the largest holders of MicroStrategy, which we already know how large MicroStrategy is, especially around Bitcoin. So BlackRock not only infiltrated the crypto market through holdings of the largest companies out there like MicroStrategy, which is one of the largest Bitcoin holders, they also are one of the largest institutional holders of Bitcoin. But also, if we think about the Bitcoin mining space, we have Marathon Digital Holdings here. We also have Core Scientific, and the list just goes on. Now, you would probably think, well, Bitcoin, yeah, the miners are a big piece of the puzzle. Well, if we think about this, these are some of the largest miners that control some of the most significant percentages of the Bitcoin network. We probably think, all right, well, BlackRock, they probably don't hold any of the stocks of the Bitcoin mining companies, right? Well, BlackRock is the largest holder of Marathon. All right, well, that's okay. Number 2, Core Scientific. Again, BlackRock is the largest holder of Core Scientific as well. So let's think about this. Why is BlackRock pushing Bitcoin so heavily? Why is BlackRock talking about, Bitcoin so heavily? Because they're manipulating you. They're manipulating the retail sector and getting even wealthier off of it while controlling Bitcoin. Because now they not only infiltrated Bitcoin through being one of the top holders through the ETF, they also hold the largest percentage of the companies that are supporting Bitcoin, that have added Bitcoin to their balance sheets. And they're also the top holders of the major mining companies as well. Now, the scary part about this is Bitcoin dominance. They are obviously pushing Bitcoin so heavily, and they are allowing Bitcoin dominance to surge to the upside, which means they have control over the market itself. Because remember that altcoins are very, very controlled by Bitcoin, over 50%. Bitcoin dominance is nearing 60% yet again, just like it has in history. But the problem here is that Bitcoin being controlled by the elite cabal like BlackRock means they also control most of this market. Now, the big question that a lot of people will ask is, will they allow us to get rich? Well, I don't believe that they are going to control the market in such a significant way to the point where they can control if we have alt season, if Bitcoin pumps or not. Yes, they have been selling clips recently, but I don't believe that's going to hold us down forever. The number one thing that I want everyone to be aware of here is not so much the control aspect of Bitcoin. It's more so, what are they distracting you from? For an example, more recently, we just got a big report that every single Bitcoin maxi has been pushing and running away with, which is BlackRock, the largest asset manager on the planet, has finally realized Bitcoin is going up forever. Nothing stops this train. Now, everyone loves this. Everyone has been pushing this, and it's just a PDF file, mainly around Bitcoin and the performance overall. What's funny about this is they can't see past the nonsense, because all these Bitcoin maxis care about is Bitcoin going up in value. And when you have the largest asset manager out there pushing Bitcoin on, mainstream media and talking about it, everyone is so quickly focused on Bitcoin, but they're not focused on altcoins or the technology behind the space. And Larry Fink himself literally told you that he was wrong. Over here, we have Larry Fink. I was wrong about Bitcoin. BlackRock CEO. I was a skeptic. As you know, I was a proud skeptic, and I studied it and learned about it. And I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion. This is what I believe today. I believe the opportunity is here today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. Now, why is he saying this? Think about this for a second. Step back. BlackRock never loses. Why are they now talking about this? Because they know that they can make money off of the retail sector. They now have everyone pumping Bitcoin, buying up Bitcoin, which means the mining companies go crazy. They go crazy in value as well. Outside of the mining companies, we also have MicroStrategy and all these companies that are adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, also pumping up in value, which is making BlackRock even wealthier, even bigger. But the only thing everyone is focused on is the price of Bitcoin. They're not focused on the damage that BlackRock will eventually do to not only Bitcoin, but also those holding Bitcoin. Because at some point in time, the entire plan will be public, which is, it's not Bitcoin. It was never Bitcoin. And we'll talk about this, but listen closely to this.
Now, I know you have been a leader in willing to embrace crypto. You have made it so that people can be in Bitcoin. We hear that you are thinking about Ethereum. These are incredible things. Now, BlackRock is not known as a gunslinger by any means. So you obviously must believe that this maybe is an alternative. Is this an alternative in order to be able, because of a deficit, maybe something long-term people should have?
Absolutely. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. Right. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it. And I think a lot of people are missing that.
I couldn't agree more. I changed my mind about it when you did. You had been my thinking. It was like, you don't believe it, so I can't believe it. I want to thank Larry Fink for the message of optimism.
Thanks.
And also for a great quarter. Larry Fink is the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of BlackRock, I think the most important investment company in the world.
Thanks, guys. Carl.
And when you think about this, right, this is on mainstream media, CNBC. Who controls these media companies? It has been documented that BlackRock and a lot of these elite cabal companies control the media companies. They manipulate the retail sector through the media companies. They have paid spokespersons that are out there talking about what they want to push because it makes them so wealthy. You don't get to the size of BlackRock. You don't control majority of the world like BlackRock does without having control and puppets out there pushing what they want you to push. And also, remember more recently what BlackRock told you. The next step is the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond. You are not achieving this on Bitcoin. You're not achieving this on Ethereum. So what exactly should we be focused on? Well, I'm going to talk to you guys about that here in 1 second.
And we believe it's so important to be anticipating the next move. I would also say on the beginnings of a ETF Bitcoin, we believe ETFs are a technology no different than Bitcoin was a technology for asset storage. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
Now remember, this is not possible on Bitcoin or Ethereum. So why do they continue to push this? Why do they continue to focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum? It's to distract you and divert your attention away from what actually matters in this space, the technology that actually matters in this space. Yes, we already know that, BlackRock has their BUIDL fund and this is on Ethereum. Again, all of this is to distract away from the big focus, which is the scalable, efficient networks in this space that are at the forefront of the tokenization revolution. We also know that Goldman Sachs is pushing for tokenization. Tokenization is their end goal. That's their focus. And even over here, we have from Franklin Templeton, President and CEO, Jenny Johnson, confirming that Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is coming to financial services, which is tokenization.
Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is coming to financial services. I think AI is probably the other big disruption there, but and there's so much noise around a lot of things like FTX and others. But if you bring the technology down to its core value, it does three things. One is it allows a payment mechanism. Number two, it allows smart contracts to be programmed into the token. And three, because it's a general ledger, it has a source of truth. So whoever has that token all rights in that token are granted to that person. So if I sell it to Frank, I don't have to go through a third party to do it. Frank gets it, and Frank gets all the rights. So my favorite example is Rihanna, who came out with, right before the Super Bowl, and I know she's just testing the market in this, 300 NFTs, each one worth 0.00033% royalties on one of her biggest songs. Well, why can she do that? She can do it because when Spotify plays a Rihanna song, it can capture, the smart contract executes and says, I owe royalties here. And so nobody has to be involved in it. And it can take the fractional payment and go to, because Frank's a big Rihanna fan, so it goes to his account, and he owns a couple of those. And he's paid, right? So now think about any way in which you have revenue streams or royalty streams that you can now start to fractionalize that or democratize that. And think about how that is an uncorrelated asset to all the traditional assets. So other examples is, I think that athletes are they'll sign a big contract. They'll say to their fans, I'm going to sell off, tokens worth 10% of my future revenue stream. I'm going to, 100,000 tokens, and boom, the fans are going to probably pay a premium for it. So it will be a way, and if you think about it, it's just securitization done on steroids. And it's merely that this technology is enabling it, and it's also enabling other very interesting companies that will disrupt some of the traditional business models that we have today.
And there you have it. This is from Jenny Johnson herself, literally telling you Bitcoin is a distraction. It's the greatest distraction. But also Ethereum is a distraction because these two are not scalable enough to handle the financial use cases that tokenization is going to unlock and open. This is going to be so significant, and only those networks that can handle the scale. And remember that Franklin Templeton chose Stellar, also Matic. But when we think about this, right, why are we seeing the biggest names pushing the biggest distractions? It's because the real value is in those networks that can handle the scale. We look at XRP and the XRP ledger. We look at XLM and Stellar. We also look at Hedera with HBAR. We look at Algorand. We look at all of these great networks in the space that can handle the scale, that are very efficient. This is why the elite cabal is not telling you the real plan. They are distracting you with nonsense because it allows them to get extremely wealthy. They're getting wealthy through the mining companies. They're getting wealthy through the largest companies out there that are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheets, but they are also getting wealthy through their ETF. Don't be distracted by the nonsense. Don't feed into the garbage that is out there like these Bitcoin maxis are. Focus on the real plan here. The real plan is to utilize public networks in the space that are very efficient, very scalable for tokenization use cases. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.